Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the DrEnderPickles show. Today we have a special guest, Slappnbadkids. Hello, Slappin.
Hello, Dr. DrEnderPickles. How's it going?
Going good, otherwise known as Autism Bot. When people ask you like what name on the server you like going by, which one do you usually kind of swing towards?
Slapping Bad Kids. Fun fact, Autism Bot never was my account.
Really?
Yeah, it was never mine.
That's crazy
And
because it's listed on the wiki like as being associated with you.
yeah, it's actually Vertrix's account, and he let me use it, and I just never got it back since the Great Migration.
See, that's a great lesson, folks. Never believe something that you read off of a wiki.
But it was when I was active, it was primarily my account, but like following Block Game Mecha, it's almost always been somebody else on it.
Nice. I mean, do you still know if it's active today? I feel like I don't see it on the actual server anymore.
I don't know. Vertrix is. I haven't been in contact with him for a while. I know Turbin used it a few times. Most of the people at Block Game Jerusalem had access to it.
Right, I got
Yeah,
you.
I don't know.
So let's backtrack a little bit. How and when did you join 2B2T? What was kind of the initial push to join?
So I joined with the Russia invasion, but I had no idea who Russia even was until after I joined. So I didn't play that much Minecraft, but I watched an old group at the time. It's Team Avolition, and they'd get like op on people's servers and just grief the whole server. I just thought it was hilarious. That had nothing to do with 2B2T, but then a fit video came up in my recommendations, and I'm like, okay. And I joined. And then I found out I joined in the middle of that whole drama.
Right, that must have been an interesting time to join. Was that around like 2016, 2017?
2016. I came at the end of June 2017.
So what was kind of the current turmoil at the time when you were on the server, and where did you kind of wrapped up in that situation?
Not really. It was the whole Russia invasion, so there's just, endless killing a ton of people at spawn going on. And I joined and I just thought it was cool that like the server was old, so I joined and I just wandered around the server for months. Like I didn't
Nice.
build anything, I just wandered. Like I got some gear, I just explored. I found a few things, but I can't remember what they were.
Yeah, that's kind of the spirit of the server, especially when you first join. It's just kind of feeling everything out and getting a lay of the land.
Yeah. And yeah, I just wandered for quite a while until actually my wife saw me playing and she wanted to play too. So I killed myself back to spawn and we wandered out. We built a little spawn base like 110K out. We just farmed up gear and then we uh we traveled about a million blocks out and we built a little starter base.
Yeah, that's such an interesting dynamic. It's not every day that you hear about a 2B player that's also playing with their wife. It's a rare occurrence on the server. What was that dynamic like?
Oh, we played Minecraft before. Yeah, we'd been playing Minecraft together, just kind of like our own little world. And I guess we just kind of started getting bored of it. It's like you get so far in the game, it's like, so what else is there to do? So
Right?
it's
It's
like,
it's kind of like going on like some sort of social outing, like how couples do, except it's in game with a bunch of random random Minecraft players. So
yeah. And we were like, we were completely paranoid that, somebody was following us and was going to grief our base. So our starter build caught fire because we tried to build with lava and we thought somebody griefed it. And then Vertrix, a guy we had run into on the highway, invited us out to his base. Vertrix and Joey Coconut. I had run into Joey Coconut the second time leaving spawn. He was at the tugboat base just farming crops. And I kind of hung out there and farmed a bunch of crops too. And then I left. and he
Now,
went his own separate way.
yeah, were they some of the first people that you met, like on the server, just in general?
Yeah, they're like the first couple people I met that didn't try and kill me. I
Right.
think, yeah, Coconut I ran into at spawn. Vertrix, for some reason, I decided to go back to spawn from the base. Yeah, I decided to go back to spawn from the base to kill new players at spawn, and I passed him on the highway and just didn't bother him.
Yeah, and what kind of unfolded from there, associating with Joey and that whole crowd?
Uh, we built, what was the base called? They had a they had a base called Invictus, which was like a week old base. And we arrived there, and somebody pretty much immediately leaked the codes to I can't remember what his name is. Somebody pretty much immediately leaked the coordinates. So we abandoned it and we moved to Invictus 2. And I was helping my brother in law actually get to the base. And I was just walking down the highway with X ray on, and I saw the portal to Cartman's base, La Rosa.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting, kind of getting the whole family involved too.
it's just something to do, you know. I live like out in the middle of nowhere.
Right, and I'm sure it's like it's people you can trust, right? You're bringing in people that you know IRL, therefore you're not worried like, oh, this person has no real sentimental connection to me. They're not gonna be sacred with any of the information in game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a couple of them accidentally posted the coordinates in chat a couple times, but nobody ever noticed.
Yeah, and most of the time that kind of stuff is hit or miss anyways. People just trolling and sending out fake chords.
But yeah, I came across Cartman's base, and I wasn't really a griefer at the time, but I decided to grief it anyway, just because I kind of felt like I wanted to leave my mark on the server in some way or another, and you had to do something to stand out.
Right, it's like being in prison and going up and like shanking the biggest guy.
Yeah, something like that. And from there, Invictus 2 and the follow-up base we made after that kind of fell apart pretty quickly. So, we invited a bunch of people that we probably shouldn't have.
Was there any like a fallout or grief that you got from griefing La Rosa?
No, it actually, weirdly enough, right after I did that, I met Jared 2013, and Jared is friends with Cartman, and Jared invited me to he had the base that was on Rusher's video. I can't remember what it's called, but he invited me there. It was already grief to rebuild the gold farm. So he wanted to like earn my trust so he could try and get Cartman's items back, which I didn't find very many of Cartman's items. I missed his stash. It was just what was laying around the base. But anyway, I went there to base with Jared, and I met Frickin', and I made friends with Frickin' pretty quick, and he invited me to his actual base. So then I loaned Autism Bot from Vertrix, and I ran that account out to Frickin's base, and I mostly based there for quite a while.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about that base. Was that Iron Farm base, or was Iron Farm base where you met frickin' at originally?
Uh, Iron Farm base is the base he invited me to.
Right, and how big was that base? Like, what was kind of the main shtick of being there? I assume the Iron Farm.
Well, Iron Farm, and there are a couple other farms going on. Frickin' just kind of wanted supplies, and he wanted to be close to spawn, so he could get. So he hung out. Yeah, he hung out with the Fourth Reich a lot, and he just kind of wanted to be close to spawn, so he could be ready to blow things up.
Did Jared and frickin' associate with the nerds at that time? Like, was there any like overlap there with like Tristan and Clyde and that whole sector of the server?
Uh, they're in a chat together. Tristan and Clyde and Pop Bob didn't really play much at the time. Tristan showed up at the Iron Farm base a couple times, And actually, I think he posted a video of himself jumping around at the base, and that I think that's what got the base coordinate exploited.
Dang. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's an interesting way to to get chords leaked.
I trusted in accidentally leaking coordinates. Iconic duo.
Yeah, that kind of seems to go hand in hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's that's at that base. That's when I made the bot. Is mostly frickin' did most of the work because the chat bot was a module in Forge hacks, but I learned just enough Java to tweak it to do what I wanted it to. And yeah, I started making the bot there just to, well, the bot was to AFK the iron farm and some other farms we had going on. I don't know why I did the chat. Yeah, because I wanted to chat spam rather than try and like punch for AFK, and I just wanted to make it unique. So I found like the darkest, worst jokes I could find on the internet and copy pasted them in. I asked 4chan, and they gave me some also terrible jokes.
Right. And I mean, you were kind of involved with more of the technical stuff at these bases, right? You were kind of more known for your redstone and farm work.
Yeah, that's mostly what I do is redstone and sorting systems and farms. I've never been really good at anything else in Minecraft, just farms. Most of the farms at Iron Farm base, besides the Iron Farm, I did.
But see, that's interesting because you know, Tubi's kind of known for being very anti-redstone as the years go on, right? So it's very few and far between that you see people devoting time to that kind of stuff besides like Oremonger, for instance.
It wasn't terrible at the time. There were some weird hopper glitches you had to work around, but this all kind of happened before Redstone really got nerfed. I think it was House 1 made a lag machine so bad, Housemaster made clocks start breaking, and that's kind of when I gave up. But at the time, it wasn't that bad. It was just laggy.
Uh, yeah, I could imagine. I mean, it's so different now. Like it feels like you can't even like make the simplest redstone contraptions.
Yeah, it's probably why I haven't been back. Because like every once in a while, I have the itch to play again, but I can't do anything I really want to do.
Yeah, and it seems to only be getting worse and worse too. Like it's not even just redstone anymore. It's stuff like elytra and um like different
Offer
modules and all sorts of stuff. It's changing by the day at this point, especially
Elytra,
PvP too. Yeah.
Elytra actually works again.
Oh yeah, elytra works now. I'm sure back when you played for a little bit, it probably wasn't working.
It was
Um,
disabled like the vast majority of the time.
See, and that's just insane to me. It's kind of like a, you know, it's so broken that you can't really do anything about it, so you just shut it off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people just be flying and exploring and just lagging the server by generating chunks.
So back then you mentioned you kind of crossed paths with the Fourth Reich. Did you ever end up joining the Fourth Reich? What was kind of your involvement with that?
I joined them. I didn't I wasn't like a notable member. I just kind of hung around and blew up stuff. So I'm not good at like inciting or anything like that. I just followed around, and whenever there was something to blow up, I blew it up. I kind of hung out until Tavix quit. So Tavix quit, and then I incited his base and blew that up. And but after that, Tim McNukepants like IRL doxed Tavix and called his school with some threatening messages and stuff like that, and that was too far for me. So then I dropped the Fourth Reich because I'm a firm believer that it's a game; it needs to stay there.
Right? It goes too far when it transcends that point, and that was pretty frequent back then.
Oh yeah,
Uh, Much
it
more
was
than it is now.
constant.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a good bit since then in terms of like the frequency of it, but it definitely still exists.
I can't remember what his name was. Tech Ready Gamer, the guy that incited like the not Invictus 2. But the base we had right after that, like, I had a guy named Tech Ready Gamer that got upset that we were making fun of Netta T, and he incited the base, and then he doxed me, and then Jared doxed me a couple times, and but yeah, it was pretty constant.
Oh yeah, the good old Jared Dox is like a it's like a birthright of playing 2B, right? At some point you're gonna have to deal with that.
he got
Um,
this. He got my city wrong though, so I didn't care that much.
nice. But let's talk a little bit about serious doxing. You actually made a video on your channel talking about, it's not the video you want, it's the video you get. It's a pretty powerful message uh, that kind of went viral in the 2B community when it came out. Can you tell me a little bit about the context surrounding that video, whatever you can say, like what it was about, what kind of the fallout from it was, um, all that jazz.
So there's no real. I didn't actually get any fallout for it. Um, I remember when I came back to 2B the second time, there was that drama with Baki Bak and his group. I can't remember what they're called now. And then there was his name was Ghost something, Ghost Mafia.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, Ghost Mafia. So in Orson's group, like Ghost Mafia's DMs were posted, and there was some pretty bad stuff in there. He was trying to groom a kid, and I didn't do much. Just nobody called it into the authorities, so I just sat on the phone with the detective for a couple hours, just letting him know what I knew. And there's a whole bunch of drama about grooming and stuff. And I collected a bunch of stuff, but at the end of the day, I can't release it because there's some bad people on the server, but there's a lot of shit posters. And I nothing I have is good enough evidence to say that I can be like, okay, this person is a terrible person. You know what I mean? I don't want to accuse anybody innocent.
Right. Yeah, it's always good to come with like cold hard evidence whenever you make a certain accusation. I completely agree.
And there was a group that everybody was telling me I had to investigate, which I cannot remember their name at the top. Do you know which group I'm talking about?
I'm not completely aware. I feel like in your video you said it was like a 9B or like it's like some sort of like alt server group.
Yeah. So everybody was telling me that this group was terrible. And then I kept getting like all these perfectly worded testimonials about all the awful things this group did. I'm just going to leave them unnamed. They don't need any attention. But I started to get the suspicion that they were just trying to play me to release information like, oh, this group is terrible, so then people would be scared of them. And then I got a threatening message from them with my doc saying, hey, you better release this video or bad things will happen. So at that point, I'm just like, okay, no, you're clearly just trying to grub for attention at this point. So then I released the video you get thing.
Yeah, and to me that's such a weird vie for attention, right? Why would you want to be labeled like that if it's just for attention?
Well, because like all the testimonials I got were like, oh, I quit this group and they doxed me and threw bricks through my window and hacked my credit card and stuff like that. So they're trying to vie for attention, like that they're like swatting kids. So, if you felt like messing with somebody, they're going to swat you. You treat them with a little bit of caution.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's when you're that age in this community, you really do feel invincible. When the reality of it is, you can always still be charged, as to a, there's still punishment that can be dealt out. It might not be as serious as if you were an adult to get charged, but you can definitely, I mean, for swatting, absolutely. That can end horribly for some people that are the at the end of that.
I firmly believe that Housemaster either needs to make this an 18 plus server or uh, start reporting some of the stuff that's in it. My problem is like kids see videos online that's like, oh, that's so cool, let's join the server, and then they get on and there's a bunch of people trying to do terrible things.
Right? But I feel like that might be kind of like hard to enforce. Well, I mean, what would you have in mind to enforce that if you were housemaster? What would you do to keep the server 18 plus?
I don't know. I think that's partly Microsoft's problem. They Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the whole global report thing that they've instituted, but the servers never seem I don't think the server's ever going to get past 1.12.2.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying with the chat reports, but to me that's just not the right execution of it. The way they're doing it,
Well,
there's a different way they could go about it.
I think like the problem is I think I think there should be a warning on the server when, you log in like this server may contain XYZ. The bigger problem I think is Discord because like 2B2T chat is too terrible. Like you don't sit there and have long conversations with somebody. If you think somebody's cool, you give them your Discord. Give them your Discord tag and you talk there. And with this whole reporting a ghost mafia and stuff, the Discord health and safety was more than useless. They did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and that is a strange situation. Whereas Discord pays more attention to minor inconveniences like shock images and just like frivolous shit like that, like shit that's like out of context, right? That someone might say, like making a video game threat that could be misinterpreted as an actual threat. It's stuff like that that Discord latches onto instead of the actual issues like with Ghost Mafia and like serious threats to safety. I mean, could you agree with that?
I could agree with that. Like I was trying to report this stuff and I kept running into a wall. They're like, we will not take hacked messages as part of the complaint. It's like, yes, someone hacked these messages. It wasn't me. I don't know who it was, but you can clearly see there's a problem there. Shouldn't this be more important than, your terms of service about hacked messages?
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
it is interesting how they pick and choose certain stuff like that, and how situations like that were allowed to go on for so long with no intervention. It's very strange. But
Uh, I don't know.
after that whole situation, what you kind of left the server for a while. What kind of prompted that?
Uh, so I played with Joey Coconut most of my career on the server, right? Like, he wasn't with me when I based frickin' at Iron Farm base, but following that, uh, I went to 2B2T creative mode, which was a Cartman project, which lasted like a week because Cartman invited the wrong people. And after that Block Game Mecca, I invited Joey out. He was there most of the time in Block Game Jerusalem. But I came back and Joey asked my like when I quit the first time, Joey asked me if he could have the group. And I said, sure. When I came back and it's I came back after Block Game Jerusalem with a plan for a new base, and it became pretty clear that it is Joey's group now. And there was no way he was gonna let me back in under any semblance of like I was not gonna call any shots. I was not gonna be the person making the plan. I was not the person in charge of anything. Which is I mean, that's fair enough because I wasn't playing. He was. But I can't redstone anymore. uh my group isn't mine anymore. Like I just kind of lost the motivation. Like I feel like I made my impact on the server. I could go through all this work, I could form a new group, I could do all this stuff, but for what?
That's strange to me that he would leave you behind like that when you came back. You just said
It,
you couldn't redstone. That's such a weird guideline to put in. Like you can't do redstone. What's the context of that?
well, because like nothing works properly. Like you can't make a clock that keep breaking. Like uh just things like you can't ride in a minecart properly. Like that's kind of my whole thing for playing is just making these really elaborate, intricate farms.
Right.
And
So it was more of a server thing than a Joey thing.
it was that at like more of a server thing than a Joey thing. But like we came up for a plan for a new base, but then I kind of realized this was going to be Joey's base that I was along for, which I don't fault him. Like, he was playing, I wasn't, but I didn't want to go through the work and create a new group and all that nonsense.
Right. And so when you kind of came to that realization, was that kind of the demotivator when it came to the server, as in it's like, yeah, my time's up, time to time to get out of this atmosphere?
Kind of, it was halfway there because we had, I can't remember what we were going to call it, but we traveled. This is when NOCOM was going on. So we traveled out like 32 million blocks or something to start a new base. And there were two nice places right next to each other. And I kind of took the opportunity. Joey had like his planned themed area. He had all these plans for the bases. And I'm like, okay, I can build a giant shit post right next door to it. Like, because I was still kind of known for the whole Schematica block game mecha thing. So I was just going to go ridiculous. Like, I was going to make 5 copies of the Imps Jesus with just terrible building blocks. I was just going to make like a giant shit post. And I logged on. I got a couple accounts out there. We started moving items from Block Game Jerusalem, and I can't remember what happened, but I came on one day, and the whole area was just nuked. And Joey's like, "Yep, the coordinates got out. We got to find a new place." And that's when I haven't been back since.
Yeah, a grief will definitely do that.
Yeah, we didn't even have anything built yet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you remember who it was that leaked at the time?
Ah, I don't know. I think there was some drama about Legerve being there, I think.
Yeah,
There's some drama because Legerve was invited. And that's why and then somebody else got mad about it and leaked the cord.
see, I'm sure it doesn't compare to the drama that happened at Mecca, though, the whole Bo Mecca and witch trial.
Oh, not no, it wasn't. It was nothing close to that. That was some drama though.
You were pretty personally involved in that situation. What can you say about how it formed and the ultimate climax of it all?
So, like I said, I get along with I haven't talked to him much lately. I get along with Beardler now. He's grown up. He's not a bad guy. I wish people would stop vilifying him for something stupid he did when he was like a 15-year-old kid. But Mecca was Mecca was done anyway. It's just Beard that pulled the trigger.
Yeah,
Because yeah, because Jared had got the chords. I don't know how he got them, but Jared had the coordinates. And even though he's my friend and my base mate, he kept hanging them over me, making me do things for that. And someone else, I can't remember who, someone else. Oh, he started hanging him over with. Oh, that's what happened. Sorry. So after Beardler was invited, Jared, I was at another Beardler base. I can't remember what it was called, but I was at another Beardler base about a million blocks out. After Beardler was invited, Jared found out I was at that base, held the block game mecha coordinates over me, like, I'm gonna grief your base unless you give me his coordinates. So I gave Jared those coordinates. Jared griefed Beardler's other base, and I thought, okay, maybe I can just keep this whole thing quiet. And Beard didn't catch on to that for years after, but there was already stress. It was something was gonna happen and it was gonna get blown up. There were
yeah. It was
leaks, there were drama,
kind of
there were people not getting
the storm
along.
before the storm.
Yeah. So there was somebody who was gonna blow the place up. It's just Beard pulled the trigger first.
And
And
what was that like when all that was going down?
uh kind of it's weird. I was pretty mad about it. At the same time, I'm kind of relieved, like, it's happened now, like, people can't hold this over me again. And then at the same time, I felt like, okay, now we can show the world like what we've been up to. But at the same time, like, I felt like I had to get Beardler back. And I wasn't that mad that he griefed the base because I mean, it's 2B, it happens. I was just upset about the whole I was upset about the whole museum thing. Like, this is the trustworthy person you're supposed to send your world downloads to, and he's blowing up people's spaces.
Yeah, and collecting IPs too. Wasn't that a part of it as well? Like leaking IPs and
I don't think that was malicious. I think that was just I think he was just being an idiot. He just really hated Jared, which he hated Jared because I kind of set him up. I'm not gonna lie. He hated Jared because Jared was they Jared was going onto the museum server and he was finding things on the museum that had been uploaded but not posted. He'd just flying all over the place, and then he'd go to where it was in 2B2T and he'd blow it up. And uh Beard's like, okay, I banned Jared. So I baited him and I said IP ban question mark, and he posted to me because I said it like at that time to set him up because this was when I knew Beardler had griefed Mecca, so I was just trying to prove that he wasn't trustworthy.
right. Did this was this before or after Jared tried to dox you?
This Jared's doxed me a couple times.
But was this did this kind of result in him going a little more schizo when he found out that he had leaked it to you?
Uh no, actually. Jared didn't care about that at all.
Yeah, I figure
He,
his aggression would have been a little more towards Beardler since he was the one that sent it.
yeah, he didn't even care. He's like, "Oh no, my IP address." Or maybe he just played like he didn't care. I don't know.
Yeah, and that situation, I mean, it's infamous now. I mean, how does that feel to be a part of one of the biggest mysteries, conspiracies, controversies in 2B's history?
Uh I didn't mean to take the museum down. I really didn't want to. I just wanted I just wanted Beardler removed from I just wish they ran it better. That's the whole thing I wanted was them to, be more careful with who they pick to who they pick to be in charge of something sensitive like this.
Yeah,
And
and then
and like
well, go ahead. Sorry.
I got my revenge against Beardler a couple times. Like I've blown up a couple of his bases, and then we were cool. But yeah, some other people started taking it into real life.
Yeah,
Like
and that's when you gotta draw a line in the sand, right?
like, but I think Baba J wrote found out. Yeah, Baba J doxed Beardler or got the dox and found out he lived like a couple miles from him, and he wrote something about like you're the dumbest slur to ever live in crayon on a piece of paper and dropped it off at Beardler's front door.
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
God, that's fucked. Like I can't imagine like walking to your front door, you see a note like that, like someone's literally been to your front door from 2B
from
over
from
shit you've done
2B.
on a block game.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then I blew him up. He got removed from his post at the museum, and in my eyes, like that's fair. Like it's settled. But yeah, he's been kind of vilified ever since then. And he doesn't really deserve that.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody kind of started taking their jabs at him too. Besides you, like everyone was taking their jabs at everything he did. No wonder he kind of dropped off the face of the earth.
Well, he was suffering for like I'm not going to say too much. I've gotten to know the guy pretty well. He was going through some stuff at the time, and then he kind of dropped off the face of the earth. He got himself sorted out. So it's kind of like not even the same Beardler now than it was then.
Right, and we're kind of talking about the past, kind of the infamous stories of 2B. But what are your kind of your hopes for the future, not just on the actual server, but in the community itself?
I wish I wish the community would realize sometimes that it's just a game. Like, yeah, you can do whatever you want to anybody on the server in game. Like all this nonsense and people taking it in real life has really got to stop because you stop people trying to break the server, you stop people trying to take their drama to real life or trying to actually hurt people for playing Minecraft, then it'd be a lot better place and you can still be as big of a dick as you want in game.
Yeah, sage advice. What about the server itself? I mean, do you think we're updating anytime soon, or what do you have in mind for the server in the next 4 to 5 years?
I don't know. I think Housemaster needs to make it a little bit more playable.
Yeah, a lot of the functionality's been stripped from it,
Yeah, a little more playable because now it seems like the only reason to really log into it is because of the history it had.
right? And
And
for people like you that are interested in the technical side of it, there's really not much there anymore.
not much there. I'm not good enough at coding to, find some crazy exploit to grief everyone like no com. I don't
Right.
know. Like I think about coming back every once in a while, but I think it's got a I don't know. 1.12.2 is so long ago. Like it's been like what 5 6 years.
Oh yeah, if that.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's insane though. Yeah, for sure. Um, I mean, yeah, thank you so much for being on. I feel like this has been a wonderful interview. Kind of covered all the bases, got some insight into the witch trials that maybe people didn't know. Like you said, I feel like maybe there's a lot of hate towards Beardler that could be unwarranted, given his maturity at the time. So I appreciate you providing insight on that situation. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for watching. This is DrEnderPickles signing off.